Oh, hey, it's you guys. Sorry, I was just wiping my eyes because this is probably your last lesson of 8th grade. It's okay, calm down. Here, if you need this, wipe your eyes. It's been weird, right? Ended not the way we thought, but you persevered, you stuck with it, you applied yourself, you made it, right? How does it feel? It feels good. If you didn't stick with it, you wouldn't have this feeling, right? If you backed out at the end and you thought, well, I don't have to do this, maybe I won't do it, it doesn't feel as good. So when you put your mind to something, you stick with it, you see it through to the end, you get that feeling that you really accomplished something, and you guys did. Okay? So that being said, let me talk to you about the Pythagorean theorem word problems. Okay? Similar to what you did on Monday, we're going to put words in it. All right? I like to say that um, people people who don't like math really don't like the word problems. So it's not that they don't like math, it's that they don't like English. So that would mean you talk to Miss Fairchild, or if you have Miss McDonald, talk to her, because that's the problem, right? It's the words that mess it up. Let's see if we can make sense of it so that you can be successful in this. All right? Pythagorean theorem word problems, any side of a right triangle. So we could find the A side, we could find the B side, or we could find the C side. All right? First up, real life, your TV is measured by its diagonal. So if you had a 60-inch TV, that means that from one corner to the other, that's how they measure it, right? They measure it that way. So when will I ever use the Pythagorean theorem? When you want to go out and get a 65-inch television, you'll know that that is going to be a diagonal view 65 inches across. You might not want to put your tape measure across there because you might scratch it, right? So how will you know if you got the right size television? Maybe you get ripped off. Well, if you know the Pythagorean theorem, you won't get ripped off. So here's what you're going to look at. Okay, here's your TV. I'm going to cut it diagonally. Not really. I'm just going to put a dotted line here, right? So when you get a TV, they measure it from this corner to this corner. That's real talk, right? That's how it's measured. If its height's 27 inches, how wide would your TV be? So let's check that. All right. 60 inches is what? Would that be A, B, or C? Well, if I look right over here, I see that I have a right triangle, right? That right triangle right there, and you're going to see it right here. You have a right angle, okay? So that means this is how high it is. They have given me the hypotenuse in the right triangle. I'm going to be figuring out what is the base, the bottom. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And c is the length of the hypotenuse. So right here where c is, guess what, I'm going to put 60. 60 squared. A is 27, so 27 squared plus some number squared equals 60 squared. All right. On your calculator, you would do 27 squared, which is 27 times 27. You'll get 729. I'm just simplifying here. I'm not doing anything else, just simplifying it. B squared I don't know, so I leave it as b squared. 60 times 60 is 3,600. Use your calculator. And now you're going to see that 729 plus some number equals 3,600. So how will I figure out what that number is? I'll subtract 729 from 3,600. And that means that the square over here, that big square, so remember there's a big square on this side, has 2,871 squares in it. So is that how long this line is? No, right? We don't know how long the line is yet. We just know this square is 2,871 squares in it. So to find out how long the line is, I will take the square root of 2,871. And I do not know what that is off the top of my head. So I will use my calculator, and I will figure out that that is about 53.6 inches. So if I bought a television that had a 60-inch screen and it told me that the height was 27 inches, that bottom part of my TV screen would be 53.6 inches across. If it's not, then I didn't get a 60-inch TV. They ripped me off. Good news is they probably won't do that, but if you want to amaze your friends and family, you could show them this, right? So, word problem. Is it any different than what you did Monday? Yes. Why is it different? It has words in it. Is it any different in the math part? No. You just have to be able to locate where's C, where's A, where's B. Use the Pythagorean theorem. You're gold. All right. Oh my gosh. Painter's repairing a house. Okay. Question you might have is, why is a painter repairing the house? Shouldn't he just be painting it? But no, for some reason he's also repairing it. He's got a 12-foot long ladder. If I tell you this secret, please don't tell anyone else. This is the most commonly asked question on things like SATs, ACTs. It's always about the ladder. You might remember it from the Pythagorean book that, oh, please silence your cell phones. Jeez, people. Okay. So here's what we're going to do now. This ladder is the classic problem. You remember it in the last video from Pythagoras. What's your angle, Pythagoras? Base of the ladder has been placed 4.5 feet from the house. That means that when I set the ladder down, I went 4.5 feet out, and the ladder is 12 feet long. So if I draw a picture, it would look something like this, right? So how long is the ladder? The ladder's 12 feet. How far out is it? Well, it's 4.5 feet, 4.5 feet out. Where's the right triangle? Here it is, right? See that? See that right angle? That means they gave me the hypotenuse, and they gave me a side. Boom. I could do this in my sleep, because now I'm going to figure out how high does the ladder touch. It won't touch 12 feet up. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. C is the length of the hypotenuse. So I'll plug it in. 12 squared for the hypotenuse, 4.5 squared for b, because that's the base, and a squared. I don't know what a squared is, so I'll leave it as a squared. I will square on my calculator. I'll do 4.5 times 4.5, and I'll get 20.25. I'll do 12 times 12, or I know that one. That one should be in your head, 144. So now this problem says something squared plus 20.25 equals 144. How will I figure out what that something was? Well, to do that, I will subtract the 20.25 from both sides. And that means that the square over here, this big square that would be on this side, right, has 123.75 squares in it. That is not how long this is. So I will take the square root to figure out how long that is. And it is about 11.1 feet. So if I was hoping to reach 12 feet tall, I couldn't do that being 4.5 feet out, right? It wouldn't be high enough. So your task for tomorrow, right, is that Google form, same types of questions, right? Hopefully this makes sense to you. Hopefully you understand how to use the Pythagorean theorem, and hopefully you know that I miss you and I wish we were in class to learn this. So that being said, I guess I will A squared plus B squared equals seeing ya.